Tēnā koe me tō iwi manaki nei a mātou. I pohi nei a mātou ki aramaki to te aku, te kōrero anai, ngā huatanga e pāna ki a mātou, me tō mātou nei. E whakarongo nei ki ngā kōrero e re haere nei, me te ronga noi te ōrite, ki te arapotaka ia e mātou. Nō reira, ka mihi ki te rāwatanga, pino te a tātou no taki nei. Nō reira, huri tō tātou whaere, e o mātou rangatira tēnā koutou, kia ora tātou katoa. Just listening to the direction of the way people were speaking, I just sort of said to Eva, it's because of her that we are here. And thank you for that invitation. Completely unprepared because Prani just told me as we left New Zealand on Thursday, Friday, that we were going to come here and that some sort of delivery was expected of me. So here I am delivering. And the pregnancy is almost over. So. In the whole kaleidoscope of languages, I think that kaleidoscope would lose some colour if there were no Maori in it. And so I am saying that, listening to our learned speakers from the Irish language angle, that we too are acting very strongly. This group is a dedicated group of speakers of Maori, most of them second language learners, but who are extremely fluent, highly fluent, because of their own efforts. This group was sort of brought into being some 13 years ago. These represent all different intakes over the 13 years because of their own love for the language. They have no right to ask to be invited. They are picked by us, not by themselves, or by people who've gone through and made a success of the course. It's only a year-long course, but the whole thing is completely Maori intensive and completely in the language. They come with varying levels of command, sometimes with some aspects of their own dialects, some with no aspects at all of dialect, some with no idea of idiom or colloquial expressions or colourful language. They come quite sort of uninteresting, really, when they first arrive. Yes. Yes, not very interesting. And that, in a way, is reflected by the song that was sung that Eva chose to sing. It's a song sort of really cursing me because I brought back the traditional names of the months of the year rather than borrowings from English. So I decided, right, we're going to go back to the traditional terms, which now are much more common than the borrowings from English.
Yeah, it's good.
The younger generation, all the newborn children learning Maori, only know the traditional names, and their grandparents only know the borrowings from English. So that's one of the dichotomies that goes on between us, and one of the things that causes some friction within the family circle. Who do we go with? Do we go with the trad lot, or do we go with the borrowings from English? An inevitable, what's the word I want? An inevitable sign that language is still alive when you can borrow freely and still retain a Maoriness about the use of the expression. That's what these people here have had to sort of try to master in a very short time, and they have done it pretty well. I am proud to travel with them, mainly because of their dedication. They are a dedicated, stupid lot who follow me blindly. That's what the stupid refers to that, not to other things. It's because they're blind allegiance, and so I'm honoured by their presence. And we travel, this is our fourth time again overseas, to look at other languages who are in the same situation as we are. Can we learn from them? Can we see new ideas? Can we not borrow some ideas? Can we not talk and discuss with fellow thinkers, and thereby add further strength to our own endeavours? And that is why we are here. And thank you for having us, because we'd love to talk to Irish speakers and see how they're going, and whether there is anything that you're doing that we might want to follow. There's a growing school of thought in New Zealand that thinks that Maori ought to be made compulsory in the school system. And I know you've been doing it for years. And I'm not quite certain whether it's worked or not worked, and that's why I need to talk to people who've gone through that system. Did it work? Are there more Maori speakers? In fact, we've been in Dublin now for 2 days, and we haven't heard any Irish. Not even in casual conversation. So that seems to me to be an indication that perhaps in the urban context, which with us is quite different. It's in the urban context that you're more likely to learn to hear Maori being spoken. Much more likely in the urban context rather than back in the home marae will hear Maori spoken. And so I was thinking to myself, right, should we sort of, I'm the one who's against the whole idea of compulsion, because A, we don't have the teachers, B, learning under duress is not a good way to learn anything, having learned maths and science that way. So, you know, I know what it's like. Whereas these ones have come to us because they're motivated, and that's why their progress has been so rapid, so intense, and so successful. That has to be the line that we follow in our case anyway. But I'd like to talk to those people who are in the philosophy of compulsion to see whether in fact that is a philosophy even worth considering. It's a desperation move in the New Zealand context. It really is a desperation move. Perhaps by making everybody do it, the language has a greater chance of surviving. My own philosophy is, if you want this language, come and get it. It's here to be got. If you don't want it, then you're not part of us. I'm very linguistically intolerant, as you probably hear already. So we don't have the time to butter people up, to cajole, to wheedle, to whatever, and say, come on, come and join us. I do not have that luxury of time. So I go with those who are dedicated, and on we go, and we're doing pretty well in that way. So those of you who are in the compulsory school, talk to me afterwards, please, and tell me that it's a good idea. But as I say, we've heard no Irish spoken anywhere since we've been here, and I was hoping that we might, but I've been told that we're going to Galway tomorrow, and Galway is probably more likely, is the more likely sort of to hear the language in a natural context. These ones coming here, English is a forbidden language for the whole of the trip, and that's how we travel when we go. And that's might only be the only time that these people have anybody to speak to, is on one of these trips. They are isolated in their own family groups, in their own dialectal areas, 3 here, 4 there, perhaps only 1 in some cases. So it's a different situation from us than it would appear to be with the Irish situation. So that is why we are here. We are glad to be here, and we want to learn. We really do want to learn and see whether there's anything we can do. A lot of these people are teaching the language, and therefore any teaching ideas that you might sort of be able to deliver, that they can employ in their own classroom techniques, would be to the positive, would be to the ultimate, what's the word I want, betterment of the language in the classroom situation. People regard us as being elitist, intolerant, to be vulgar, up ourselves, and those sorts of expressions. See? I don't know what the Irish term for that is. There's a lot of Maori ones. But they're, and we have been cast with that criticism. But you know, we just shrug it off and on we go. We don't have the time to sort of worry about words of derision and denigration being thrown at us. In fact, about 3 weeks ago, we celebrated a sort of city event. You know, somebody reaching absolute geriatric state, but a lot of things were practiced on that day that sort of inspired a lot of Maori people there to want to do what happened that particular day, and it was mainly these people here who did all that sort of thing spontaneously. And that's a mark of their own command of the language, that they can do it at a minute's notice and still produce language that is meaningful, accurate, and has a Maori flavour about it. That probably is one of the biggest difficulties, getting a flavour that is Maori in essence. You cannot teach that. You need to hear it. And so we sort of try to overwhelm them for the year that they're with us in that sort of context. So I am for. I'm listening to the very learned lady sort of going through the phonetics and things. We learned French that way. When I went to school, French was compulsory in the school I went to, and that's how you learn French. You started with phonetics and then switched to standard script. So I used to enjoy phonetics because I used to think, what a strange, you know. I even taught Maori using phonetics. And a lot of the students way back in those days thought I was sort of, you know, nutty already. But it was a good way to teach pronunciation. So pronunciation and stress, I believe, that's a good system to employ. Because stress is one of the big problems that second language learners have. They will go and stress in the wrong places, Eva. They will go and stress in the wrong places. There's an Irish stress probably where they ought to be Maryland. But my mihi to you, Eva, you've done a very good job of yourself. This is very hard to learn in isolation. It's very hard to learn in isolation. So everybody here is full of admiration for your efforts. So thank you for even trying. So with those few words, I'm not going to go on and on, but we are here to be asked. Look, there's 30 of us here. Have a go to all of us. We're all available to be talked to be asked questions of, and let us please ask you questions and things if we want to. But this is te panikireta mo te reo, literally the epitome of the language, and I think it's true without sort of sounding smug. But these are the epitome of the language as Maori is spoken in New Zealand today. It's this generation that guarantees the survival of the language. Ours is more than just the language, of course. The rituals of our marae demand that oratory is part of it. So the men are learning the art of oratory, and the women are learning the traditional calls of the women to welcome guests. Those are also part and parcel of the course. So we cannot take away culture from the language. They are part and parcel of each other in our particular context. Even to the singing at the end of the speech, as Eva did. Her style might have been sort of thinking better. But see, think how lucky you Irish are. You don't have to sing it. Aren't you lucky, you people? You have to wreck your brain and think of a song. Now, what's appropriate in this context? But that's how life is. We are happy to be here, and I say we are lovers of our language. We are glad to be here. We're going to be going to other parts of Ireland, Scotland and Wales, to see what they're doing, and then to sort of try to steal some of what we see. It's not my first time to the Irish situation or to the Welsh situation. I've been there many times because they were regarded as the model to follow. So I first came to Wales in 1976, and I've been there about 5 times since, and saw all sorts of things there, some of which I liked. The Welsh knot I didn't like so much. The Welsh knot. I actually saw that in practice, and I thought to myself, what a primitive system, but never mind that. That's another culture and the way it teaches things. We are going to the Basques, who have also been one of my linguistic heroes, the Basques. And I've never been there to see what they do. But we are going to be going there, and I'll be able to say thank you to them once we meet them. The other thing we have to admit, well, am I going to admit it or not? Anyway, but they're these all have Irish blood. See them? We have been sort of adulterated by the Irish. The Scots, the Welsh, and everybody else who's come from New Zealand, and we are the products. So this is one of our gimmicks as we travel around, sort of saying, oh, you know, I've got Scots blood, or I've got a brother of blood. I'm not going to admit what I've got, but they've got Irish blood. Now I will. Daniel O'Keefe from Cork came to New Zealand, married my great-great-grandmother, and here we are today. Although my grandfather is actually English, my immediate grandfather's English. So that's it. We are here. That is the melting pot you have in front of you. And we are part of that kaleidoscope that I referred to at the beginning. Linguistically, there are dialects here. There's one particular person here that I always sort of like to sort of meet. This is Hana. Hana comes from the tribe that almost had no language. The language virtually lost. Hana's from the South Island, the only part of the country that has greenstone in abundance, or jade. But over 20 years to 25 years, you would be surprised at the progress that has been made by that tribe. And it's Hana's generation coming down. The older generations we've written off because, you know, they're not much use to anybody anymore. Because a lot of them don't have the language. You see, they don't have the language. So what's the point? What is the point? So, now that may sound intolerant because I see some people in this audience about my age. So, but I'm not afraid to say that in the New Zealand context. But this is a generation that will ensure the language survives. This is the Maori-speaking generation, and younger. So we're looking at the 18 to 40-year-olds. That's the generation that's very actively involved in the language, in the dance arts and the carving arts and all the arts that are aligned to the language. And so I think things are looking bright. We are probably 15% of the total population. and about 23% or 23 to 25 are regarded as speakers. Now that's a very dodgy figure in my opinion. But that's 25 starting from the mere cursory kia ora to extremely fluent, covering the whole spectrum. That would be roughly, and I say very roughly because that's not scientifically reached at, but that would be roughly the number. And they are all in this generation mostly. So that is our story. This is the Panikira. I'm not talking about the whole Maori situation, but the Panikira Tanga situation. Where, as I say, this is a dedicated, committed few. And their children are already speaking Maori, and in Hannah's case, she's almost due to be a grandmother very soon, even though she doesn't know it yet. She's worried because her daughter is growing up rapidly and is behaving just like her mother used to behave. So that's what you have. So if you look around here, you have them, budding mothers and fathers and what have you. And one of the joys is that they're bringing up their children as well, speaking the language. We've got Charlie and Tangiwai here, their children who are now in the virtually getting the 20s, are Maori speakers. That's the new generation. The thing that saddens me something a little bit is that the children of Charlie and Tangiwai's generation don't know the fights that the parents had to fight for those children to be able to have the language. That is a fight that the younger generation does not appreciate and does not know. It just takes things for granted and just is very dismissive as a consequence. So it's our job to crack the whip and to remind them, because your mum and dad really fought hard for you to have this language. So how about a little appreciation? I'm just hoping that is not the situation with the Irish language. I hear you've got these little communities which have been considered in New Zealand, but I don't think they'd work. But they seem to work in Ireland very well. We have completely Irish-speaking communities where everything is available in Irish. And I envy that situation so much. I've got no idea how I'd love that to happen in New Zealand. But here we are. And as I say, glad to be here. And please make yourselves, use everyone who's here. That's what they came for, to be used. In the nicest possible way. But they're here to be used. And in that way you'll find out really what our situation is, rather than just listening to me and to Brown probably. But they've all got a story to tell, and their own story about themselves will be interesting. And that will be our contribution to this afternoon, Ifa. Nō reira, e mihi ana kia koe. E mihi ana kia tātou katoa, e te kata tātou wea. E pupu a te